What's up, guys? Back again. We have another episode of Consumed. And on this one, we're going to be talking about Walmart.com shipping you your items unless it costs Walmart.com too much money. So in the last probably about month or so, Walmart.com decided to test a few new policies that would help them save on shipping costs. The test started on popular kind of consumer packaged goods categories of pet food, non-perishable groceries, household cleaners, and some cosmetics. And just to kind of recap a little bit about consumer packaged goods and e-commerce and some of the struggles that all kind of online retailers are having right now is that consumer packaged goods and fast moving consumer goods are sometimes bought daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So a lot of times consumers really understand maybe where the price points are on those. So if you are offering them online, you have to be kind of in a range of the prices, so then consumers will purchase the product for maybe a little bit more just because of the convenience factor online, but they're not willing to pay 25, 50, 100% more online because there's another element involved with like the shipping that an e-commerce provider like an Amazon or a Walmart would need to recoup somehow. Consumer packaged goods and kind of the fast moving consumer goods, they're usually under $10. There's a large majority of them are under $10. And because of that, they generally are tough to ship and make money on. If Walmart's buying a product at wholesale at maybe $4 and it's going to cost them maybe $4 or $5 to ship it, by the time they kind of age that inventory and a lot of other kind of indirect costs get added to it, generally you're kind of at a break-even point. The economics of items get a lot worse the heavier they are. They also get a lot worse the lower the margin on the wholesale is. So if they buy something at $6 and want to put it at $10, you can obviously see there's a lot less margin that's available on there. And the way that like consumer packaged goods and fast moving consumer goods companies have combated that for so long, and retailers have, is that a lot of times these things are shipped in pallets. And because they're shipped in pallets, it's only a quarter or so per item of shipping costs that come when it does get shipped to a warehouse or straight to a store. Now, why Walmart is kind of doing this is that they found that things like laundry detergents and maybe big bags of pet food or maybe large liquid like household cleaners, when something is not in stock at one of the warehouses that would be able to get a product to you on 2-day ground shipping, generally those items then have to be air freighted. And because those things have to be air freighted, generally there's a very high elevated cost. And because of that, a lot of these like kind of popular fast moving packaged goods, they are kind of really putting a dent in the profitability of e-commerce for Walmart, even Amazon, all these other kind of e-commerce companies that are trying to gain market share of these products that are getting shifted from in-store to digital purchasing. So basically, as a customer, when you go on to Walmart.com, say you're looking for maybe to reorder a pet food that you normally buy on a week-to-week basis, you sign into your account. Walmart.com obviously knows where your address is. You go to click the item says out of stock. Now the issue is normally from a consumer standpoint, you go, okay, it's out of stock. What do I do next? Do I go to store? Do I pick up an item that's very similar? And in the sense of like a pet food, I don't think that kind of exchange is very easy because pets are usually used to a certain food and consumers don't want to purchase a different one. So then they have to kind of look at different options. Now, what's happening on the back end with Walmart.com is that the item actually is in stock. It's just in stock at a different distribution center that maybe is in Boston instead of where it needs to be in Dallas, Texas, to get the product to me in Austin, Texas. So obviously a ground FedEx or UPS is not going to be able to get the product from Boston's warehouse to Austin, Texas in a 2-day window. Before, instead, Walmart would have sent that product to you. They probably would have air freighted it if they wanted you to have it in 2 days because of a guarantee, or they would ship it ground, but it would come to you in more days. The issue with it being to you in more days is the expectation of consumers at this point is kind of like 2-day shipping. If an item is not there in 2 days, honestly, the customer experience is extremely low. Just because we're so used to and accustomed to it now. The other thing that Walmart.com is trying to kind of eliminate is what they consider split shipments. And if you guys do a lot of online shopping, you know, a lot of times when you order maybe 5, 6, 7 items, a lot of times those come in maybe 1 or 2 or 3 shipments. That becomes extremely costly for a Walmart.com or an Amazon to do that to you, because they're paying, you know, $3, $4, $5 a shipment 3 times. And if the items don't have the margin available to kind of eat into that extra logistical cost, it's just putting it ultimately becomes a loss on the books of an Amazon or a Walmart.com. So Walmart.com is finally, you know, 2 years down, and I made a video about this last week about kind of Walmart.com and when they bought Jet, they could have utilized a lot of their technology, a lot of the things that are under the hood of Jet.com, that what made Jet.com worth the $1 billion investment, even though it was a new company. Honestly, it's worth a lot more than the $1 billion. I think they got a steal on Jet.com. But Jet.com had a really good tech behind the hood on kind of how they did their warehousing. And I think now Walmart.com is really trying to test and integrate a lot of that. So the Jet.com kind of platform would give you kind of discounts based around items being close to each other in a warehouse, shipped from similar warehouses. If you kind of deleted or kind of chose not to return products or a lot of these other kind of items, they would actually lower the price, because they knew a lot of those costs that they have to bake in for extra margin on e-commerce were going to be eliminated. So they actually gave you a lower price. That's great for Walmart. Walmart has not utilized that from an e-commerce standpoint yet, but they are now. So though initially this is going to be extremely rocky for customers, and if this kind of gets out to the mainstream public, I believe that there's going to be kind of an uproar. But I believe in the long run, they're doing something that's ultimately going to help their business. In the short term, somebody like an Amazon could use this to Walmart's detriment to try to grow their e-commerce, because Amazon, I would say, is not going to do that. So Walmart.com has to, you know, figure out how do they get the product in these fast-moving consumer goods or consumer packaged goods that are super popular. How do they get them in more of their distribution centers? I know up until last year, you know, they only had, you know, I think they had like less than 10 e-commerce only warehouses. Walmart have, I think, over 150 distribution centers around the country, but a lot of those are not set up for e-commerce. They're set up for moving pallets around very quickly to their stores. So right now they're really not set up for kind of e-commerce. Beginning of 2018, there was some press around Walmart closing some Sam's Club locations, and a lot of people were kind of in shock, because did retail apocalypse hit Walmart? And the answer to that is that though maybe some of their store traffic is a little bit lower than it has been, they're insulated from a lot of those issues with the retail apocalypse. And what those store closures actually were, the Sam's Club store locations, were they actually were shifting those from a Sam's Club location to an e-commerce distribution center, a small kind of micro distribution center. And I think that that's going to happen more and more over the next couple of years. I think, you know, again, I touched on this in the last video about Walmart and Amazon. I think over the next probably 3 to 5 years, a lot of the stores, be it Sam's Clubs or be it Walmart's, are going to change in some type of phase to e-commerce shipping points. It's not going to look like the same kind of retail only Walmart's or Sam's Clubs. They're going to be set up in a way that looks more like a warehouse than it is like a retail outfit. Why I said, you know, Amazon will use this in the short term is because I guess the main difference between, you know, the Walmart.com business and the Amazon.com business is that Walmart.com does not have a huge profitability driver and revenue driver that's outside of like retail operations. The vast majority of Walmart's $500 billion in revenue is coming from retail operations. And those retail operations, be it grocery or some other goods, are not as highly profitable as, say, you know, services or some type of technologies or anything like that. So they're always working on, you know, very slim margins. And because they don't have kind of like these cash cow like holding companies or other things going on, they end up having to use a lot of the money from those operations to fund their e-commerce growth. And if their e-commerce is growing, but growing at a negative profitability, which I'm thinking is probably happening, what the end result is that they're going to have to raise capital or do something in a way that is totally unfamiliar to a company like Walmart and the size of Walmart. So it ends up being that Walmart.com has to start being profitable, and they have to start utilizing a lot of the tech behind Jet that could have made Jet profitable if they were able to kind of be their own company for a longer period of time. The difference between that and Amazon is Amazon can honestly break even or even lose money on their retail operations and still be a highly profitable company. They have two extremely high margin, high growth sections of their company, be it their Amazon Web Services, their cloud services, which is going to be $100 billion plus revenue at a very high margin, and their advertising, which again is probably going to be a $100 billion function of their business and at another high margin. So if each one of those are pulling in, over the year at somewhere like 20 or higher margin, you have a lot of billions of dollars, quite honestly, to play with to exploit growth opportunities in the e-commerce retail section. So if they want to attack some new technologies and things around grocery, which is kind of their big aspirational area right now, they can do that because they have the money to spend. The difference is Walmart does not have the money to spend. And though they have a lot of revenue and they probably can go out and raise money or do a bunch of different things through debt, they probably are not going to want to do because of the way it looks to kind of the outside investor community or competitors. Now, like I said earlier in the video, overall, though it might seem like the consumer's taken one on the head here, it ultimately is something that Walmart needs to internally fix with their supplier relations, make sure those suppliers do ship out to more of their distribution centers, and also Walmart needing to change over a lot of their distribution centers so they can have products all over the place. If they only have, say, 10, 20 e-commerce distribution centers around the country, they have to be in very strategic points to be able to offer kind of a full-scale 2-day ground shipping. And I don't think that Walmart is quite honestly set up for that. So right now they're trying to test things to bridge that until they get to this point. So as a supplier, what I would say is, make sure you are aware of these things. Make sure you're contacting at Walmart.com, Jet.com, whoever your contact is in New Jersey. Make sure you guys are talking through these things. Make sure it's not a surprise to you as you're seeing your sales numbers go down. This is something that's going to happen probably to more categories. And if I were somebody that is selling into Walmart.com, Jet.com, I would make sure that I am fully in a two-way communication with my vendor manager or my category manager, and make sure that they understand kind of where you want to be positioned for this. If you are, kind of thinking about digital and really winning the digital battle, think about engaging in conversations a little bit earlier here so you're not caught your hands behind your back when you kind of are leaning on a lot of this growth with Walmart and Jet.com. I think we'll end this video on that one. If you guys do have some more questions or comments around this topic, make sure you guys are commenting below. If you guys have gotten this far in the video, make sure you guys are smashing the thumbs up button. That helps me out a ton. And if you guys have not done it, make sure you guys are hitting the subscribe button. That ensures you guys will always see my latest videos, even if I'm not sharing them on some of my social media accounts. As always, I don't charge for this content. All I ask is that you guys tell a colleague or a friend to kind of grow this community a little bit more, a little bit stronger. And I want to thank you guys for just taking some time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys on the next one.